Hey everybody, my name is Phil.
I'm Erika.
And today we are watching The Chosen, Season 2, Episode 2. Let's jump in.
"3 days, Nathaniel. You're in no position to make demands. You're lucky enough to have this job.
That's why I have to demand what I need, Leontis. Do you know how hard I've worked to earn a Roman commission? Man,
20 men show up every day. Who cares what they think?
I care. They need to share a
They
vision.
need to each do their jobs. The day laborer, the craftsman, the foreman, and the architect.
Yes.
Well, people have their own ideas.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
We need help!
How did all of that happen?
You're ruined, do you hear me? It's over!
What? Why?
He's the architect?
Hey. Who is that?
I thought that was Jesus.
I know. So.
Probably Serusha. Maybe he's just walking. No one just
Straight
walks
towards
into
you?
the shan. No one but us. Shh. Don't come any closer. You think? What do you want?
For the Romans to go away,
Good enough for me?
a pretty wife someday.
Oh, he's a poet.
I ate a fattened goose once. Are you Simon, son of Jonah?
He knows.
Who are you?
You're new at this. I get it. Once you've followed your rabbi for long enough, you won't even blink when a strange man such as myself walks out of the woods with a message he can only give to Jesus directly.
Yeah, we are pretty new. Doesn't make us dumb. We can't let you see the rabbi without knowing your business.
I can't say.
Something's not sitting right with Simon.
Nothing ever sits right with him.
Friends?
Philip!
Ah, good man. Good man.
Strong name.
Strong name.
You smell terrible. What did you expect, huh? Come on. What are you doing here?
He looks like a hostage.
Just staring at him?
5 minutes.
He's out? Or is he praying?
Philip.
Who knows?
Philip.
Whatever, I trust him.
Good name.
You'll never know when you get to sleep next.
Wow.
Sounds like you're in a war out there with John the Baptizer.
No. War has rules.
That's the ravine. Anything you'd find there would be wet. Yes, I discovered that.
But there was wood.
It was wet. That's Matthew. He checks the ravines for wood. Probably fishes in the desert, too.
What do you mean?
Good work, Matthew.
There's something wrong.
I think they had bars back then.
Yeah. Taverns.
Yes. Did someone die?
Yes.
I'm sorry for your loss.
It was a long time coming for him,
Wait, what?
but it felt sudden.
Was it
Tell me
him?
about him.
Wait,
Like
who are we
his-
talking about?
His prospects? His like,
He was an architect.
yeah. He's talking about himself.
Oh, damn.
That's what he wanted to be his whole life. Worked his way up. Loved God.
Loved.
You're talking about him like his dad.
True.
He wanted to build synagogues eventually. I know that's not very popular around here. That's what God made him for.
He sounds like an ambitious guy.
It's me, by the way.
Yeah. It's like ego.
I'm the dead man in the story.
Yeah,
I knew.
I got that.
No, he
Just
didn't.
wanted to be clear.
What's up with you and Simon?
He doesn't like me. He sees me as his enemy,
Why?
as a tax collector.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's everyone's enemy. That doesn't shock you.
I was something else once too. Once you've met the Messiah, is all that matters.
Wow. Wow.
I don't understand.
Well, you haven't felt any relief except with him, have you? Your rabbi?
Has he met him yet?
No.
Jesus?
Don't expect to.
Sounds like it.
I know.
How did you memorize prophecy?
Maybe
In Hebrew school.
he was there with
Like
Andrew
all Jewish boys, didn't
when
you?
he
I started.
saw Jesus get
Because
baptized.
he was with John.
Skip the head.
Rome offered me higher wages than the annual income of my father and 3 of his brothers combined.
Wow.
Bought my first house when I was 13.
Why did you need to buy a house?
My father,
Kicked you out. I don't blame him.
I thought you said...
He's a man. He acted by man's standards. Everybody in your old life is playing a different game than you now. Do you get it?
Everyone speaks in rhythm. I can understand esoteric ideas. They're not beyond me.
Of course not. You'll probably pick it up faster than the rest of us. I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to sound like an oracle here. It's a force of habit. Spend all your time with a rogue preacher in the wilderness and you get to be a little loose.
Here is a circle. It represents everything in the world and all the people that have ever been. And that's me. That's how I feel.
Stick around. You're gonna be alright.
Philip's so wise.
Spent a lot of time with Cookie John. Creepy John?
Creepy John.
Not Cookie.
Yeah, don't be rude.
Blessed are you. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe.
You're gonna
My
die.
prayer, O Lord.
Dang.
Let my cry come to you. Do not hide your face from me in the day of my distress.
Jesus. Hey.
Incline your ear to me. Do you see me? Do you see me?
So, was it difficult to leave it all behind?
No. Should have been. I was comfortable. I had a dog.
Kind of.
I like it.
It was a source of amusement for others.
If this Rabbi Jesus of Nazareth called you, it means you already have everything you need for right now. He'll give you the rest in time.
I just don't know what he sees in me. He's a religious teacher, and I know very little about religion.
From what I understand, Jesus doesn't love everything about religion. Here's an easy one. If somebody asks you to tell a joke, tell them you have a vegetable joke. But it's corny.
He doesn't get it.
Yes, I will do that.
We'll work on it.
Nothing's happening. There he is.
The man. And also the God and Spirit.
Shalom.
Shalom.
I'm glad to see you here.
I'm Philip.
I know.
Wait, John told you?
No, I remember your face.
He sends me with a message. Wants me to tell you something. On my behalf.
That's good because I have something to say to you too.
It's a very short message. Only 2 words.
Mine is also short. Follow
I
me.
will.
Wow.
Then we received word of what you did in Cana. That was all John needed to hear.
This is in public now,
He
right?
sends his love.
And you?
I am his love.
Hardly, Mika.
If I may be so bold, what are your intentions here in Bashan?
Just passing through.
To Caesarea Philippi.
Caesarea for one night, and then we'll continue north into Syria.
Syria.
That's right.
You and John are really cut for the same. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you each had a death wish.
I wouldn't exactly call it a wish.
More of a cup.
Calling.
It's nothing. I'm still thinking through how to talk about it. That's why I was gone for a couple of days.
Rabbi, one last thing.
Yes.
If there's time, I have a friend in Caesarea who I haven't seen in quite some time.
Your friend lives in a Roman city?
He's an architect. If there's time, I'd love to.
Of course, of course.
Only if there's time.
Listen, if we don't make time for friends, we won't have any.
Stands
So
to
Jen?
reason.
Good night.
Good night, Philip.
Hey, Jesus. Didn't say goodnight, Erika.
Good morning.
Good morning, boys. That stuff will smoke something terrible if you light it now, but at nightfall,
You did well.
I didn't do it.
Now then who?
Our young smart friend.
Thomas?
No, Matthew. Who's Thomas? Ah, I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm still learning everyone's names.
Ah, I thought that might be what you were doing. Hiding?
Writing.
No. Writing. Are you hiding? Philip says I don't have to do that anymore.
Ah, new guy.
Just taking notes on what I see. This. I'm used to writing daily now. Began as a
Journaling.
chore, but it's become a habit. In the short time that I have followed, people have quarreled over things Jesus said, remembered things differently, and disputed his meaning. I think it's best we have a written record to refer back to.
Everything he says and does? There are people trying to trap Jesus in his words. They could twist something he said to defame him. Have you thought about that?
They will find it easier to twist something he is reported to have said than if it is confirmed in writing.
That's not how the world works. People can twist words however they want.
I think Matthew still has a better point. People trying to trap Jesus in his words by memory versus than if it was written down.
No, I can see both. They have like proof that he said something that went against the law.
My brother slowing you down back here?
Then it's like codified. They can actually nail him with something.
You know, it's funny, I would have thought that the keeper of the shifts would have been Matthew's job, not yours.
Why is that?
He thinks in divisions, calculation, order.
Yeah, I've noticed. To know.
You strike me as someone who acts on instinct, feeling.
Yeah, but I do think. I think all the time. That's what I was hoping to talk to you about. The group is growing every day. We're all unified behind you.
You're all unified.
We all agree on you. I'm suggesting we formalize a structure.
For what?
For how decisions are made, how plans are formed, and what is the process for raising objections to those plans.
Simon, I love how you are trying to make things better for the whole group. You could stand to be a little nicer sometimes, but you're a leader. You always have been, and always will be. I cherish that in you, and I will need it. Every one of these people I have called for a reason. Each of them brings something unique and important to the whole. I want every voice heard and none silenced. Everyone can learn from each other. One day, Simon, there will need to be more structure. And I see you playing a big part in it.
Like forming a church?
Humility, Rabbi. Why not now?
I want to understand the same things you do, and everyone else.
It doesn't happen overnight.
So Nathaniel's here?
Nathaniel!
Guess so.
Hey, Nathaniel, it's me, Philip.
Is he alive?
Nathaniel! Nathaniel!
Yeah, I think I remember him from the last episode. When he was recounting.
Oh,
For John.
he was one of the guys.
You don't know what your impact was or will be.
I have a good idea what it'll be. A cold day in Gehenna before they hire another Jew.
I thought I knew where God was putting me too.
So what are you doing? I thought you were out making enemies all over the place.
I'm about to make a whole lot more enemies all over the place. John sent me to someone new.
Oh, you sure know how to pick.
It's not just anyone.
That's what you said about the baptizer.
And I was right. But this is more. This is who the baptizer has been preparing us for. He's the one.
The one.
The one who Moses foretold and the prophets said would come. Jesus of Nazareth, son of Joseph.
Nazareth.
Nazareth.
I had no idea of this reputation.
Yeah, me neither.
Can anything good come out of Nazareth?
It's a saying.
Oh, little dump on a craggy hilltop.
I'm serious.
No paved roads, no public buildings.
That's fine. That's his reference to the architectural aspect of it.
Why can't I do that?
Because you're mean. Come and see. What?
It's not like you got a job to
late
go
for
to. Me and Philip. You know, like
That's dark. So dark.
He's like no rabbi who ever has been or will be.
I've never seen you talk like this.
even about John.
This is my friend, Nathaniel.
Yes, the truth teller.
I'm sorry? What did you say about me? What is this? How do you know me?
I have known you long before Philip called you to come and see. Don't look at him, look at me. When you were in your lowest moment,
Whoa.
and you were alone, I did not turn my face from you. I saw you
Wow.
under the fig tree.
Whoa, whoa, too specific. Too specific.
Rabbi, you are the Son of God, the King of Israel.
I knew it.
That didn't take long.
He doesn't mess around.
Because I said to you, I saw you under the fig tree. You believe? You are going to see many greater things than that. You are going to see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man.
Yo.
That's me, by the way.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got that.
Good. I know you like to be clear. So, you wanted to help build something that would cause prayer and song.
Whoa.
Something to bring
Whoa.
souls closer to God, yes? Can you start tomorrow?
I don't pay well. Oh,
Wow.
there's one more left.
Wow. That was a good way to end it.
Yeah. Okay. Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess that's like the most top of mind for me right now.
Nathaniel?
That whole conversation. Yeah, because that's so like God in my own life for him to take something so specific that I prayed about and for later on something to happen in my life to be like, that's too specific
Yeah.
for this to happen and it not be a coincidence. Like and just so many of those happening and it's like I just prayed about this. Like this is like too it's just too specific. I'm just like, yep, that's Jesus. That's what he does.
What I liked about that interaction was that little bit where he's like, you like to be direct, so this is how I'm going to speak to you. Like he didn't do that with anybody else. Like he wasn't that clear. He didn't, like he would speak in parables and like riddles and be a bit cryptic. But he knows that Nathaniel, like this is how he communicates and this is what he needs to understand. And he just kind of communicated that way. And I think it's like, yeah, it's kind of like when God speaks to you, there's a few things that just become completely clear, and that was kind of that personified. Well, not personified, but like showed, like exemplified. I think that was really cool, and it's like it's a very personal thing, your relationship with Jesus, even to the point of like how it's communicated to you. It doesn't have to look the same as it does with somebody else.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that was really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a conversation with someone once about like how they came to know Jesus, and we were kind of like comparing our stories. Because for me, it was like, yeah, like, you know, my story, like it happened like overnight. It was like, whoa, I was changed overnight. Whereas for her, it was very gradual.
Yeah.
And then we were just talking about how, like, you know what? Now that I think about it, like, I feel like the only way for me to believe that Jesus and God is real and that I can have a relationship with him is if it happened that way, the way that it did happen with me. It's like, I feel like God knows that I would, like, second guess too much. Or, I don't know, something. Like, I had to experience, like, something so huge, so profound overnight that, like, I really now, like, cannot doubt. Whereas for her, she was like, for her, like, how she came to know God was very, like, for her, it was like, it was actually perfect for her based on, like, how she, I don't know, kind of like what you were talking about, like,
sure,
like, Jesus just knows how we learn and, like, the best way to receive him.
So that's interesting. Like, so is, in your mind, is that just kind of how he communicates to you because he knows that that's the best way for you to receive, or do you find that needing this big sign, not sign, but like this big moment, do you find that makes it more difficult to communicate with God, or is it like that's your form, like that's how you guys...
Sorry, I don't mean it as in like a form of communication, just like in order for me to truly believe that God is real, that Jesus is real, that this whole thing is real, was for me to experience in such an incredible, supernatural way the first time. Because now when I look back on that experience, like, and there have been multiple since then that I'm like, even currently in my moments of doubt, it's like, okay, and I look back and I remember, I'm like, okay, there's no way that I can actually doubt, because I feel like God just knows that I would have these moments. And so when I look back, it's like he just, I don't know, he knows that, like, I need, I don't know, he just knows that I would need like really significant supernatural moments like that to happen for me to remember him and maintain that relationship.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that's always how it is. Like, there are definitely like other aspects of my relationship with God where, like, it really is a process and takes some time.
Yeah, that process and it taking time, I thought was really interesting. Even in the Nathaniel story, when he was like at the fig tree and he was praying that prayer, I feel like it was just so human of people like, like I've done the thing, like I'm using your gifts. Where are you? Like, just kind of feeling so entitled to God's presence in that moment in this way. I feel like that's just that's how a lot of people have approached it. That's how I approached it. For the longest time.
Yeah,
it's like,
I've done that too.
Like, I've been prescriptive with, you know, how I've been following, and I've followed the rules, and like, I need you now, show up, right? And it's kind of like that whole thing is, and I'm sure like that's what Nathaniel will learn. Like, it'll completely change, and it turns into a relationship, and I just thought that it's nice to see this in the disciples, like the pure human characteristics of, like, that are still, like, you know, that still exist in us today, and in, like, believers today, that, you know, the people who were closest to Jesus felt that way too, right? And they were constantly learning, and Yeah, so I feel like it's a really great way to help people be seen in this story when for so long it's just us learning about Jesus, and it's not really us putting us in that story ourselves.
Yeah.
I feel like pastors and people who preach do a really good job of like bringing us that context and kind of relating it to present day, but seeing it here and then just being so easily connected to these people, I don't know. I feel like that's a lot more impactful for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the beautiful thing about shows and movies, like how they're able to just transport you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you are part of the story.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
All right, well, I mean, I guess we can get to the star of the show.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about Philip. He's
wise guy. You don't hear much about him in the Bible at all, so it's interesting that they have
like this kind of spin on who he is.
On him, because I've actually heard like another interpretation of like a comment that Philip has made that's like, okay, it's not very a smart comment, but here he's shown as like someone with wisdom. I don't know his backstory or anything, or if he really was a disciple of John.
Yeah, and maybe wisdom is going too far, but definitely experience.
Like what Jesus said.
What he was saying, like you've followed before, you understand that this journey is difficult.
Yeah, he's so, like, definitely way more empathetic.
Yeah, to what they're going through.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of like willing to share that knowledge, and I'm sure somebody shared that with him before. Just kind of like, this is hard to do.
Yeah.
And I think that was that's really good that he's part of this group to give that perspective and to give that kind of experience, because I've even like Jesus, he goes away for like days at a time to pray, to think, and there are fractures that happen when groups are together for that long, right?
Yeah.
So it's nice to have somebody that can give you a different opinion and talk from experience with like fruit on the tree.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice take, and I don't know if any of that is in the Bible, like accounts of who he is and his character, but I think it's a nice addition to this group.
Yeah, I think he's like maybe the least we know about in terms of like the 12 disciples, I think.
Right. Strong name though. Strong name.
But yeah, he was like a really powerful character in this. Like next to Jesus, I feel like they showed him to be one to actually like be the next best example to the rest of the disciples. You know what I mean? It kind of looked like he knew. I don't know. Like he kind of took it on as a responsibility. I don't know. That was kind of my sense of
responsibility for what?
Like to be that example. Like seeing how Simon was treating Matthew, it seemed like his decision to defend Matthew was very intentional.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Simon needs to be taught this, or needs to be shown. Yeah, how to be gracious and actually exemplify the teachings that Jesus, or I guess, and also John was teaching. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like and what the dynamic looks like moving forward as just, humans continue to be in connection with one another, because I can easily see people getting frustrated by his demeanor and mistake it for arrogance or Phillips.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, to walk into a new group and be like, I know what's going on here, and it can rub people the wrong way, and I'm pretty sure that's what was happening with Simon right at the beginning.
Yeah, that's Simon though.
Yeah.
That was a good lesson though I like how Simon's his character development is very realistic. We've been in the show now, we're in the second season, and still you see the very human fleshy part of him, not as transformed as let's say Mary or whatever. But I like how it's it's very realistic in that, and Jesus being very explicit and like, what did he say? That like, oh, he can see that
He's a leader.
Yeah, that he's a leader, but that the way he reacts
It's with
is
emotion.
very with his feelings.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of see like the gears starting to turn with what Matthew said, like influenced by Philip. Yeah, you can kind of see like his gears starting to turn, and like Jesus teaching him to like, that's the whole point of his intentionality with the disciples is that everyone is very different from each other, so that we could learn.
Yeah, that was a really
from
great
each
point.
other. And his response was so funny. It's like literally that is why Jesus just said what he said.
But I think it's just, what's great about oh shoot, I just lost it. Oh, never mind. But yeah, no, I think that was a really good lesson that he was being taught. But one thing that I am seeing with Simon is his, even though like he hasn't like completely transformed in terms of how he reacts to things, I feel like you're starting to see him like forgive easier, or like he kind of rebounds quicker. Mm-hmm. Like whereas before he would hold on to things and he would be like very strong with his bias, but like I don't know, he can take a joke and he can be corrected and it's not taken too personally, and it's not like a grudge that's being held. It's just kind of, you know, he moves on a little bit more. I think that's something that is like a baby step.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Anything else in this episode? Anything else that happened? Rema and Mary, they're going to start, and Matthew are going to start studying Torah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like even...
a little Bible study.
Yeah, but even like the show alluding to Matthew, like he stepped away from the Torah for so long and now he has like this hunger to want to learn and shouldn't be judged.
Yeah.
For
like
it.
So many people are in that exact situation, right? Like they stepped away from the church and they need to learn it all again.
Yeah, or like even have that desire
and
actually seek help.
Yeah,
that's a cool example.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Yeah, I think that's all I can like off the top of my head right now.
Yeah, it's all good. Awesome. Well, the season's going really well. It feels like there's better production value with it. Like it feels more cinematic in some places, which makes sense. I feel like they've
added another production company.
It gained a lot of steam during that first season. So, I'm excited to see what kind of storytelling they have for the rest of this. Looks like they have one more disciple spot left. Not sure who it's going to be. Well, we will see.
We'll see who.
Cool. Well, hopefully you enjoyed watching this one, and we'll see you for the next one. Peace.